All right, here we are, episode 5, Dathlete Daily. This episode is going to be geared towards not being selfish. In other words, you need to be selfish in order to serve. And I wanted to talk about this because this aligns greatly with something that I talk about inside the Forge Father. I have all my guys do inside this thing, and it's like when you embark on a journey and you're wanting to change, you're wanting to transform, you got to know where it is you want to go. You got to know where it is you want to go. You got to know specifically what it is that you want to achieve. Like, what's the outcome? Like, what are the changes? What is the transformation that you want to go through? And so we have something set up that's called the MVP, and it's basically a framework that helps get you clarity on what it is that you want, why you want it, and then what it is that you need to do. And a part of that is your purpose. And so MVP, it stands for mission, vision, purpose. And so the purpose is like the fuel to your fire. It's going to be the thing that keeps you going. And a big problem that a lot of the dads run into, whom I have conversations with and whom I work with, especially when they first begin, is they have this thought of how they're being selfish when they take time for themselves. And I get it as a busy dad. When you have all your dad responsibilities, you're trying to keep your wife happy, you're running a business, you're an entrepreneur, you're putting out fires left and right, and you're trying to build this thing, you put yourself off to the wayside. And so when you do start to take time for yourself, you feel like you're taking time from everything else. And so it's easy to put yourself on the bottom. But when you make that mistake in thinking that it's selfish, and I will say it is selfish if you're just doing it straight up for you, no other reason. And I'll get to that in a second here. But when you're just doing it for you and no other reason, no other, purpose behind benefiting anybody else, then yeah, that is selfish. But I'll tell you, with the men that I work with and with myself, I'm doing it for me, number one, but that is so I become better for everybody else. And so the mistake that a lot of guys make is, again, they get into this mindset of, oh, I'm too busy, I got all these other things to do, and they have that story inside of their head. They have this belief that if they take time for themselves, if they get themselves better, they're going to be taken away from everything else. And what I want you to think about here is, especially if you're in a position where you're finding yourself constantly run down, you're tired, you're unmotivated, you are 20 to 30 or more pounds overweight, you see this guy in the mirror that you don't want to be, how are you going to give more to everything else that you're doing? How are you going to be better as a dad? How are you going to be better as a husband? How are you going to be better as a producer when you're not even taking that time for yourself? You're not building yourself up as an athlete. You're not taking time for your health and fitness. You're not taking time to build your own capacities because you're too busy pouring into everybody else's cup, right? And so for the dads that are out there that are like complaining about how they're constantly run down, complaining about how they don't like how they look in the mirror, how it's taken away from their confidence, how it's taken away from their personal power, you have no right to complain and bitch about it if you're sitting there at the same time and saying that it's selfish to take time for yourself to fix that. And so in comes the MVP, right? Your mission, vision, purpose. And I'll dig into the mission and vision and purpose a whole lot deeper, but I wanted to share my purpose in this episode here. And I'll be honest, I was one of those guys years ago that was saying, it's selfish to take a bunch of extra time for myself. I need to put all this time and effort into everything else around me, into my family, into my wife, into the business. And yeah, it is easy to put yourself off to the wayside when you're saying that to yourself. However, it wasn't until a little bit of a switch went off in my head that said it's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to be a little bit selfish just as long as it's for improving your service to others, right? Because let's be real, like how well are you going to be able to serve others if you're running on 10% constantly? It's not going to happen. Like, you can push, you can grind, you can hustle through that, but at some point you're going to be so deep in a pit that you can't even take care of yourself, let alone anybody else. And so that's why you gotta keep yourself optimized, because you're going to show up better for your kids. You're going to show up better for your wife. You're going to show up better for your business as a producer. And guess what? You're going to show up better for yourself. When you look in the mirror, you're going to be proud of that man that you see staring back at you. You're going to know that man isn't cutting corners. He's not taking the easy route out, because I'll tell you, that is an easy excuse to use to let yourself off the hook. Oh, that's selfish of me. I don't want to go spend, 20 minutes in the garage working out for myself. Instead, I'm just going to, take the easy route out. And it's easy to do that. So that's where you got to, be honest with yourself, own up to your truth, and have that conversation with that man in the mirror. Is that the easy route that you're taking out? But either way, what I want you to get from this is, it's okay to be a little bit selfish. It's okay to be a little bit selfish when you're building yourself, not only for you, but for everybody else around you. You're building yourself up to be that leader. You're building yourself up to be that role model. You're building yourself up to be that warrior who can stand in the front and say, I got you because I got myself first. And I feel like that's a lie. It's a lie that a lot of guys tell themselves is, you know what, I can't have myself first. That's selfish. That's a bunch of bullshit. And I'm telling you right now, like when you make that switch, and it's like yourself first, right? God Almighty, He's in there as well. That comes first, then everybody else. Because when you show up optimized, when you show up built, when you show up forged, you got that edge. You're going to have that edge, and you're going to be able to give more. So think about that for a second. If you're sitting there and you're not taking time for yourself, you're cutting corners, it's time to make a little bit of a shift there. Be a little bit selfish, knowing that it's going to help build you up so you can put more into others. Show up better. So that's what I got for today. Dathlete Daily. As always, feel free to drop a comment, tag Dathlete Daily. Feel free to share this with somebody that you know might benefit from it, another dad out there possibly. And if you need help with this stuff, if you want to dig a little bit deeper below the surface of what I'm sharing here, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you forward and give you a little bit of extra clarity. If that's you, shoot me a message. Like I said, I'm happy to help. I'm on this journey myself, and I'm going to continue to be on this journey. So here's to doing the work. Here's to earning it. Until next time,